Cooper Show. Yeah, I believe in you. I don't believe in lucky sevens. I'm not sure about Loch Ness, but I know I believe in angels. I believe in happiness. Good day to you, wherever you may be in this world. I absolutely love this show. I love our distribution, and I love our intro. So thank you, Platinum Planet Records, and thank you, Binge Network. You can catch the show as an Amazon Prime video. You can also catch it on Binge Network's YouTube. Make sure you ring my bell, please. It's the Caffeinated Cooper Show channel, and we have an amazing guest connected with us today. But first, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor of this show, Viter Energy Mints. They also have gum. It's an amazing little product. It's so easy to pop into your purse, your pocket, your gym bag, your school bag, wherever you may be going. But just make sure that you don't take too many of these tiny little mints, because each mint is packed with 40 milligrams of caffeine. So that is half of a cup of coffee. It's very easy to get on the go, get up and go with these. They're full of vitamin B. So B complex in each mint, which is B3, niacin, B6, B9, folic acid, and B12. 20 mints per tin, sugar-free, 0 calories, with a strong minty flavor. They're vegan, Star K kosher, gluten, dairy, soy, wheat-free, and you can get them at goviter.com. Let me bring their information up here to the show. If you happen to be watching the show without the video, then you can go to goviter.com after the show, not right now, and you can order your mints. They are offering a New Year's special. I believe it's 10% off of every order. Or you can go to Amazon, Walmart, and they have expanded. So on their website, they will tell you the other places that they're available now and in 2023. So make sure you check it out. It's a great little product. I use it often, especially for those late night broadcasts, and they really do give me a nice pick me up without nasty bitter taste or anything like that. It's a nice smooth mint. So we have the lovely Corbie Mitleid connected with us today, and Corbie on her website gives the best description. So I went onto her website, and as it describes, she is a certified tarot master, psychic medium, teacher, and ordained minister. Corbie has been reading for 50 years and is a full-time intuitive counselor with clients worldwide. Robert Schwartz features her work as a channel and a past life expert in his breakthrough series on karma and pre-birth planning, Your Soul's Plan, Your Soul's Gift, and Your Soul's Love. As an author, her self-help volume, Clean Out Your Life Closet, encourages you to write your own story of change based on your history, your life experiences, and your personal goals. Her books, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road and You've Got the Magic, Who Needs a Genie, deal with how to use psychic counseling wisely and be a successful part of the holistic expo community from the professional side of the aisle. Corbie's ability includes tarot and oracle card readings, spiritual/intuitive counseling, past life retrieval and analysis, mediumship, and spirit guide conferences, including with One Soul or Higher Self. So make sure that you check out her website, CorbieMitleid.com. Without any further ado, Miss Corbie Mitleid, how are you?
Rocking and rolling, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having some time and a moment and space with us, because I'm so excited to get into our conversation. You have some great books. You've done amazing work. I want to know, when you have a moment to speak with someone who is a medium and a channel and has been doing this for 50 years, are you able to guide yourself? That's my biggest question. It's probably the dumbest question, but what have you done to guide yourself?
Me? To
Yeah.
guide me? I've lived the examined life. And I teach that to people. What is the examined life?
Mhm.
Okay, this thing is happening to me and I don't want it. For me, had breast cancer 3 times.
Mm.
Well, it's happening, so I have to deal with it. What do I do? First thing is, what can I learn from it? Second, for me, because I'm a teacher, is how can I teach with it? And the third thing is next. For instance, the last bout of breast cancer, double mastectomy, and the doctor said, we're taking you from this Dolly Parton figure to a fat fire plug with permanent side effects in 3 weeks. Suck it up. I went home and cried for 24 hours. I'm normal. But then I knew I had to find 3 reasons to be okay with it. Number 1, you don't have them. You can't get cancer there. Number 2, you're not going to get them slammed in the refrigerator door at the doctor's every year. And every woman listening knows exactly what I'm saying.
Yep.
3, implants. I'll be perky till I'm 93. Okay. That was more than 18 years ago. I'm 68, cancer-free. This is what it can be. Examined life works for everybody. You do not need to be a psychic to use it.
I love what you just shared with us there, because that seems to be, in my mind, what's being highlighted right now would be PTSD.
Mhm.
Anything that is traumatic in your life, you can apply that to, and it's a natural work through, not a work around. Seems like so many therapies want to be a workaround. Here's a pill, take that. But I'm not working through it with this.
Mhm. It's very much like what I call the glurpy purple with angel psychics that say, oh, it's all love and light. Be sure and look always on the positive side. Well, you can't. That's not life. Sun gives shadows. When you walk through your shadows, that's where your strength is. That's where your courage is. That's where you are forged in fire. And then, frankly, you can take that and you can go help somebody who's going through it themselves. All of us, we're not allowed to leave here until we've taught somebody something. So maybe that's yours to teach.
Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Now, when it comes into past life experiences,
Mhm.
and what did I read earlier? Like the pre-birth plan.
Mhm.
There are some people I have met that say, yes, I feel like I met or I knew my older sibling when
Mhm.
there was no possible way in this existence, in
Mhm.
this time, that I could have known them.
Mhm.
Is that something that we always know, but society does not allow us to know it?
Not really.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not necessary to know it to move forward in our lives. So we're just comfortable with them. With me, my father in this life was my best friend.
Mm.
Now, most lives we come in same generation and friends. But I knew, my soul knew that planning out this very difficult, challenging life that I was planning, I'd need a best friend as a father. So his soul and my soul agreed, let's do that role this time. That's how it works. But yes, we do have what I call our soulmates, and you don't always marry them. Soulmates are your core team.
Mhm, mhm,
Dad was one.
mhm.
My last husband, no. This husband, yes. My spiritual mentor, we've been in and out of each other's lives for 25, 30 years now. Yes, same thing. So you're always going to meet somebody you've done this dance with before.
Always. Never come in
Oh,
alone.
no, we don't. It's too hard down here.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering that question. I would like to get into your first book, Clean Out Your Life Closet. There are so many things that we put into that closet, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And we try to shut the door. It's like when your boyfriend that you've just met at college thinks that you're a neat, prim, and proper person, and you take all the dirty dishes and everything, you put it in that closet and you shove it,
And the dog.
and the dog, everything. And look, your apartment looks great, doesn't it? But it's not.
Mhm, mhm. We have done that. Clean Out Your Life Closet was written based on the things that my clients always said they wanted to know about: clarity, adaptability, simplicity, and making friends with stress. But I wrote this to be, if you will, the anti self help book. because I remember the very first one I read back in 1968 when I was 13, and I remember the first paragraph. Judy has a groovy wardrobe. This is 68, come on. Her makeup is fab and her hair is far out. But nobody likes Judy because Judy's fat. And boom, right there, an entire generation of preteens were told, you are worthless unless you look exactly the way we told you to. Right? And we have all read self-help books that are like that. Do what I tell you or you're going to screw it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. One of the books I read said you should get up every morning early and do yoga and not eat food with leptin in it. You're a single mom with 2 preschool kids in Milwaukee and 2 jobs. You are not going to do that. So I wrote the book with you. Each chapter, here's some of the dumb things I did. Here's maybe a client story. And here is a suggestion. But at the end of each chapter, what you've got are your adventure pages. Adventure pages ask you questions that you cannot answer trying to find it on page 82. The answers come from your life. Things like, think of a friend who was always in his or her mind making mistakes. How might you present the idea of stumbling toward enlightenment to them? How would you work with it? So right there, it asks you to look at how you work with friends, how you work with yourself. It is a book that educates you about you. And by the end of that book, that is your personal manual, and no one else would read it the same.
Now, when you say enlightenment, that seems like something that, at least through society, I've been programmed to see as wonderful, beautiful, happy, 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 happy. Is enlightenment always happy, gushy, wonderful love and fluffy feelings?
No. To me, enlightenment is just the fancy way of saying dawn breaks over Marblehead. Boom. If you think that you're an enlightened being, trust me, you're not. Those who are truly enlightened in the full esoteric way of thinking about it know that they will never have all the answers and it's always growth. You get someone like the famous Indian guru Paramahansa Yogananda. We all consider him a transcendental soul. He never thought of himself that way. He was always just a human striving toward. That's what real enlightenment is. But the way I use it, it's understanding how to go through life. Also understanding the bigger picture of what you came down here to do, what you need to leave behind when you go.
Very, and it's sort of like the your lesson plan.
Yes, your sentence of passion. What do you want to tell God you got to do while you were down here?
Oh, very interesting. Wow. So, all right, let's go back to your 50 years of experience. How did all of that power up, if you will? Like if you were an empty cell phone, I was plugging you into chart. What was the first thing that hit you of, oh, okay. What was your first?
Well, you're going to laugh. The first thing that hit me was a concrete bench. Seriously. There's anecdotal evidence that says most of us that do this stuff for a living got a clop on the head when we were kids. And it opened up our third eye. When I was 4, I was sledding down a hill where we used to live, and no one had taught me how to run off the sled when you're heading towards something dangerous. And I went whack face first into a concrete bench. Didn't even fracture my skull. I was a hard head. But maybe that had something to do with it. When I was 9, I read a book called The Witch Family by Eleanor Estes, and I thought, ooh, there's magic in the world. I want to go find it. And the kicker was 1973 when I was a senior in high school. Live and Let Die came out. The James Bond 007 tarot deck was at Spencer Gifts, and I bought it because we were all hippies then, and hippies need their deck. So, I mean, it was really that cliche.
Quite interesting. Now, we do have a viewer. Her name is Anna, and she is, she's asking questions. Can I get a reading regards my love life, things like that? And I value her question, but what would be the right way to contact you for a reading? I'm assuming that probably just seeing her name, it's...
No, I mean, I'm not here to be a trick pony.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
Now, that is not to say that I don't do free reading hours. I do on my Facebook page once a month.
Okay.
But for someone just to pop in and expect a reading like that, that is, well, I'm not a latte, a burger, or a car wash. Okay, I'm not Zoltar. Plug in dollar, I'd give you an answer. You go to my website, CorbieMitleid.com, and I have something like 24 different readings, from a quick burning question all the way up to the soul plane reading like I did for Robert George, which takes 12 hours of prep work. Mm. My prices are as low as I can make them for my level of experience and talent, because I'm a weird psychic. I downsell myself. I don't upsell. Mm-hmm. You may want a half an hour reading with me, but if a 5-minute burning question is going to get your answer, I'm going to tell you to go do that. And it sounds like what she's talking about. Yes, absolutely. I could do it that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for clearing that up. I definitely wanted to address her. Of course, we appreciate her view and her question. Now, we talked about cleaning out your life closet, which I think is a brilliant book. You have 2 other books. Let's focus on the Psychic Yellow Brick Road. Is that like a how-to guide?
No, well, not a how to be a psychic, because there are a million of those. But this book came from something that I saw happen at a very large psychic fair in Toronto. When there are 250 booths, no matter how good the promoter is, they can't vet everybody. So there was a woman walking down the aisle. I was on one side, and one of the fake gypsies was on the other. The fake gypsy runs out from her booth, grabs the woman by the arm and says, "Oh, you no need to pay $30, $40, $50. I read your palm for 10. Come." Drags the woman into the booth. 20 minutes later, a bunch of us see the client leaving in tears. And we rush over and we say, "What happened?" And the gypsy had said, "Oh, you have a family curse. How many in your family? 4? You have dog? $50 every family member, 25 for dog. He's small." Told the woman if she didn't burn 400 specially blessed candles at the Roman Catholic Church, "I bless real good. Only $1 candle." Her entire family was going to die in a car accident, and she bought it. That's why this book. This book tells you what we can and cannot do, how to ask the right questions, when to run because you don't have someone who's real. This is a book, and I don't care if you never come and have a reading with me. This is not about, yes, and Corbie is so fabulous, you have to see her. If you buy that book and never come to me, if that book keeps you safe while you do intuitive consulting, I did my job. And I don't think there's another book out there like it. I looked.
Did you say anything to that woman?
No. We couldn't, because legally, what were we doing listening? That's unethical. It would, she could go to the promoter and say they were spying on me. But no, all you can do is comfort the woman who was crying, assure her that she wasn't cursed, and write that book so that if anyone else sees this kind of thing. It's like when I do my free reading hour, I guarantee you there are always 2 or 3 people that just slide in and say, "Oh, Isabella, I am drawn to you, my dearest friend. Give me your email and I will." No. My peeps, no, that's a poacher. You go there and they will take your credit card and you will never get a reading, but you will be drained. No psychic ever goes into somebody else's feed and tries to siphon people away. That's scam.
I mean, it's just like bad business practices for any other business. For a competitor to come in and do something like that, we wouldn't fall for it then. So why wouldn't we fall for it now?
Because there is no better business bureau for psychics, and people often don't know any better. That's why.
Right.
So we educate them.
And I have a question about the intrigue. People that, okay, so let's put it this way. What are the top 5 questions that, if these are the questions that you want to ask, please don't? Like, it's probably just not going to give you the answers that you want. If they were to meet with you and they said something like, "What is my favorite color?" to test you.
I would, I get that. I get that. Someone comes up to me in front of my booth, this happened, and said, "I don't know, tell me something you couldn't know about me, and if you're right, I'll have a reading." I looked at him and I smiled and I said, "I'm sorry, I don't roll over and fetch either." And I turned my back and they did not get a reading. The other, I'm taking a quick 15 minutes to get a sandwich down. Guy leans over my booth, pokes my sandwich and says, "You don't need to eat right now. My wife needs a reading." My front person slid right in front of me, and I guarantee. That's why I say burger, latte, car wash. That's how a lot of people see us. We're not human. We're a thing they want.
Mhm.
And I hope that book teaches people, no, we are counselors. We want to do our best for you, but give us the same respect you would give to any other professional.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. Thank you so much for that answer. That's there's so many people that have to be drawn to you
Mhm.
once they know what you do. How do you select who you can take a meeting with?
All right. How do I select or how do they select me?
Either one.
All right. Very often people will go to a psychic fair and they will not know any of us from Adam's house cat. So I say, you have to all learn to be good puppies. What does that mean? First, you do your walkies. You go in and you walk around and you just got to look at what everybody looks like. Then you go and get paper trained. What does that mean? Anybody that looks interesting, you go and collect their rack card or their brochures. And then there are always places to sit down and think. And so you go and you look through. There'll be 3 or 4 that are interesting. Come and talk to us if we're not busy. If we are, talk to our front people. But remember, I can tell you I'm wonderful and that doesn't count. And we hire our front people to say they love us. My first one was my husband's office manager Monday through Friday. Do you think she's going to diss Mrs. Museum Director on the weekends? No. You look for our testimonial book. These are client comments.
Hmm.
Are we good? Are we funny? Are we kind? Do we have specialties? Children, dogs, dead people? Would they come back? But everybody out there, listen carefully, my darlings. The most important thing is check at your heart level. If the psychic doesn't feel like they have a brain in their head, they really care about what they're doing, or they're going to give you good information, don't go there no matter how cool the wiki-woo looks on the table. That's not your person.
Now, what about the use of crystals? And you have gone over this just a moment ago, with the psychic telling this person, "Oh, you're cursed. I need to see the dog. I
Mhm.
need to see mom,
Yep.
dad, sister, brother, whatever you have around. Just bring them, bring them, bring them." Um, what about the works with crystals and different energies and minerals and things that we can gather out of this earth
Mhm.
to help us spiritually? Is that a good
Oh,
thing?
yeah, sure. It's not one of my specialties,
Okay.
but again, when you do the kind of work I do, spirit kind of goes rifling through your file cabinet to see what you got. Me, theater major at Brown University, acted in New York for years, so I understand character arts. Words are my drug of choice. I'm a writer, so I can tell the stories. And I've been interested in history since I was a small child. Put all that together, and I'm great with cards, which weave a story, and past lives, because I can pinpoint them. On the other hand, do not give me a request for spirit art because I can't draw a stick figure with a sharp pencil prayer. There are people I know who do healing with crystals. I have a dear friend who is a shaman who does a lot of her shamanic work based with crystals. Everything on earth, quantum physics, we all have a vibe. Just like mustard tastes different from cinnamon, tastes different from oregano, bloodstone acts differently than amethyst, that acts differently from moonstone. When you learn what these are about, you can harness these energies and get them to work for you. That's what crystals are about. But they're simply tools.
Okay. So let's talk about one of the tools that you do specialize in, which is working
Yep.
with cards. Now,
Mhm.
there are other cards other than tarot cards.
Yep.
Would you mind informing us a little bit of what type of cards you work with? Are they suitable for everybody?
Yes. All cards are suitable for everybody, but tarot tends to scare people because it's been around forever and it's got rules with it. On the other hand, the past 30, 40 years, we've had oracle decks, and oracle decks have no rules. They can be different. You can have decks that are about angels. You can have decks that are based on Native American. You can have decks that use different religious pantheons. I have a deck that uses Ganesh. But the one thing that I tell people when I'm educating them on how to be a reader, if you're going to be a professional reader, kids, you need to have a children's deck, even if you don't think you're going to read children. Why? You're in a very big psychic fair and it's busy, and your client has their 2-year-old on their lap going, mommy, 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 card, card, card. She looks at you and says, look, can Muffin pull a card, please? If all you have is a tarot deck, what are you going to do if it's, oh, look, Muffin, death? So what you do is you have something like this. I have cat wisdom, which are little kitties and puppies and squirrels, and the kid can pull a deck and it doesn't scare the kid, and then you go back to reading for the mom. So oracle decks are enormously useful. People should learn to read them first, unless they really have a passion for tarot, because everybody thinks, I can't do what she does. Oh, yes, you can. We are all wired like the same house plan. What I can do, you can do. All it takes is practice. The other way I put it, we all have 10 fingers. Everybody can play chopsticks. Some of us love music, so we learn to read and we practice. And 1 in 50 million is Elton John. Not promising you'll be Elton John, but you can do more than play chopsticks.
Exactly. Now, what about the chatter behind tarot cards, where people have said, "Oh, if you burn them, they scream," or they summons the negative energy or the demonic. Help us understand. I don't believe that to be true.
No, they are ink on cards. I don't wrap mine in silk. What do? Mine are business. They'll sit on the desk with me every day. And actually, I do when a deck is so tired, because I read 1,000 people a year, and by the end of the year, my tarot deck does have to be replaced. It's one of two things. I might keep them and put them in a big box, because sometimes when I'm doing appearances, I'll let people choose one card and I'll read the card for them and then they can take it home. Or I will burn them in our fireplace, thanking them so much for their assistance and their love and their energy, and go fly. Just like, do we scream when we're 2 weeks dead and we get buried? No. This is the coat. We've taken off the coat. The energy is gone. The only tool that I really, really, really don't like are Ouija boards, because people think there's nothing to them. They just stick their hands on the planchet without knowing at all about protection and saying who's there. And that's like opening your door in a strange neighborhood and yelling free beer. You don't know who's out there, but they heard you when they're coming. Okay. And for everyone who says it's in the toy department, great. Your kid says, mommy, mommy, I got all A's. You said that I could play with a new toy. Let's go. And he takes you to a box that says my first chainsaw. It's in the toy department. Gonna let him play with it by himself? I don't think so. So crystal balls, tarot cards, even a Ouija board, these are tools. Learn how to ground, center, and shield and keep yourself protected, and you can use them. And for that, no, I didn't write this book. This is how I learned 30-some years ago to really get good. Opening to Channel by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer. It teaches you how to connect with your guides. It teaches you how to stay safe and grounded. This is the book that I recommend, okay? And by the way, a really good professional intuitive will always have other resources for you where they don't get paid for it, they didn't write it, but they'll pass on the information. If the psychic only tells you about everything that gives them money, that's when you put on your glasses and you go, can I see that again, please? Okay. We are here, the best of us are here in service, not because we think our aura don't stink.
Now, you mentioned that you do 1,000 readings a year. We all know there's only 365 days in a year. How do you preserve yourself? What do you do to energize yourself to be able to do that?
First is the magic elixir of life, the magic beans in the morning. I don't have my coffee, I'd bite your ankle. Wednesdays are my day off. I don't care if you're dying. I will send you to another psychic. Wednesdays are date day with my husband. Now that he's retired, it's not as important. But when he was working and I was working and I was on the road so much, Wednesday was when we reconnected with each other. How are you? What's doing? Which is why, marriage is going into its 21st year and going very strong. We're actually more in love now than we were when we got married, because we have been through things together and we keep that contact. Number two is, I remember, this is just in service. I'm the tube it comes through, as John Holland taught us. It's not me. So when I'm done having your reading, I'm sorry, but it goes core dump. I will not remember, which is why you get a recording of it after we're done. You can remember, but I will not. And when I'm not working, I am not working. That's why if somebody says, oh, are you a psychic? Tell me something about me you couldn't know. I just say, I'm sorry, I'm not working right now.
Mm-hmm.
When people would ask me that, because I go into Canada to do shows, and invariably the Canadian customs person would say, all right, you're a psychic. Tell me something you couldn't know. I'll go, okay. You're a Canadian. You're overworked, you're underpaid, and you cannot understand why the Americans are so many SOBs when they cross. And they would laugh, and I would get across. But it looks like that. And yes, I know I'm funny. I've done stand-up comedy about you think a psychic's life is easy. You know, actress background. But that's the whole thing. We're here in service. We want to do our best for you, but that means you have to respect our downtime so that we can replenish and be fresh and concentrate on you.
Mm-hmm.
When I did 4 days of a psychic fair in Canada, I'd read 70 people and do 2 lectures in 4 days. The end of the day, you roll me into the B&B in a body bag. I was exhausted. But I did it because I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
The universe gave me a bad back injury in 2019 and said, it's time for you to come off the road, and we know you don't want to, but we're going to do it for you. And in 4 months, I had to put my business back online totally. But what happened in March of 2019? But
everybody was at home.
2020, yeah, I call it the year of murder hornet bingo and hold my beer. A lot of my friends who were only on circuit practically went bankrupt. My business is just going like that. And I love being able to do this from home with my 27-pound Maine Coon snoozing on the cat tree next to me. That's great. You know, I'll give up being a Hilton Diamond for that, happily.
Oh my goodness. Well, I love that. And, you know, as we have become more successful, my husband and I, with different businesses and things, we've started to realize the power in that. Off has to be off, because it's become so easy to work 24/7. You know, 3 o'clock at night, oh, you can't sleep? Don't worry about it. Answer some emails, or, you know, check this website, do that, do that. I love that. So I want to put that back up here about your day off is sacred and core dump. That has to be hard. Have you ever seen or heard something come through that sticks with you?
If I've read someone a lot, yes, or a couple of past life retrievals that I've done. Notice I say retrieval, not regression. I do not do the hypnotherapy where you go upstairs. I pull the information for you. They were so profound and powerful. I remember them and I use them as examples. There's one mediumship that happened that was so outrageous that I use it to explain why I don't do mediumship in public. Those things, yes. Yeah, they do. But most of them,
We have somebody on here talking to the Anna girl that was on here asking you.
Oh, Melissa Heather, poacher, 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 thief. She is a perfect example of scam artists who have no integrity and are willing to sacrifice their own soul to get your money.
Yeah. Wow. That takes a lot of you know what to. Wow. Ugh. A
lot of them have polysyllabic names from Nigeria. Just know that. It's as bad as the Nigerian prince phone scam.
Wow. Oh, all right. I'm glad that she posted that, because now we can say what we said.
Perfect example.
Yeah, perfect example. Exactly. Like if anybody needed an example of what it's like to try to steal somebody else's business, and you've got a crappy product that you're trying to steal with. I mean, come on. All right.
Yes.
Let's talk about the third book here that I have in the intro. You've got Magic. Who Needs a Genie?
Right. Look, I was on the road 18 years, 45,000 miles a year, 45 weekends, shows and shows. My nickname was the Travel Channel. Why should you youngsters have to reinvent the wheel? You know, at 68, guys, I don't have all that long on this earth. You're going to be here a lot longer than I am. So I wrote everything down that I know. And some of the things you're not going to get in a standard book. For instance, I tell you about you must always have a sign-in sheet. Why? Because at a show in London, Ontario, many years ago, I was reading for a young man, early 20s, and he apparently did not like what I told him. The next day, we found an anonymous death threat on my table. Now, it was in handwriting, because when I have the sign-in sheet, unless you are physically incapable, I make you put your handwriting on there. We were able to match up the handwriting. We gave it to the Ontario police, and he was arrested.
Good.
This, just because this is supposedly light worker work, it doesn't mean that everything is unicorns and rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
It is a business,
Mm-hmm.
and you are going to run into this sort of thing on occasion.
Mm-hmm. And this is the book, You've Got Magic, Who Needs a Genie?
The A-Lister's Guide to Holistic Expert Success.
Mm-hmm.
Take it and run with it, kids. People always used to be very surprised that I would go seek out the rookies at any show I did, introduce myself, bring them over to my table, show them everything. I'd even give them some of the paper stuff that I had, like my rat cards, and I said, the only thing I ask you not to do is steal my words. There was one psychic that was a very dear friend who plagiarized parts of her entire website, stealing from mine. We had to get a cease and desist order and blocked her, because that's the one thing that is true theft.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's true theft to try to come onto somebody's show while you're interviewing to try to steal your business. So now, one thing in your bio that I found extremely interesting, because we were talking in the green room about this for just a minute, but you are an ordained minister. Is it tied to a denomination?
Nope, it is non-denominational. I need more coffee. And I did it for two reasons. The first kind of humorous one is when I would go reading in the Deep South 20 years ago, people would go, oh, you're a fortune teller, you're evil, you're demonic. And I'd say, no, I'm Reverend Corbie. Oh, we're sorry, Rev, pastoral Catholic, you go right ahead. The other is, before it was the law of the land, you know, you're an actress, you have a lot of friends who are gay. You do. And if they wanted sacred ceremony, if they wanted to tie their life to their loved one, I would do that for them, because love is love. It's what I call, I'm straight but not narrow. I have done funeral services for a stillborn child. I have blessed houses. I'm what I call a hedge priest, meaning I don't have a particular church, but the collar is always on. The connection is always there. And if you need someone in a priestly capacity, that's my job, and I'm always around.
Okay. And you believe in God. The silly question, but this is a question that pops up a lot, right?
It does. Look, when I was in the early 90s, all of a sudden I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people with no training. That is when the universe handed me my draft notice and said, hello, you're working for us. I have done the cancer dance 3 times and come out the other side. I do not believe I did that on my little onesies. The way I explain it to people is, look, God owns the grocery store. He does not care if you come in through the health and beauty aid section, the florist, or the deli. Just get in there. You know, we're never going to know who's got the real story until we're dead. And I often refer to a tiny little comedy bit from 50 years ago called The 2,000-Year-Old Man. Mel Brooks is the 2,000-year-old man, and he's being interviewed by Carl Reiner, I think, who says, okay, so 2,000-year-old man, how did you invent God? And Mel Brooks says, well, you know, there was this guy, Phil. He was bigger than everybody else, and he had a big club. And so we would pray to Phil. Oh, Phil, please don't take our mastodon meat. Oh, Phil, please don't hit me on the head with your big stick. And then one day lightning came and struck down Phil, and he was dead. And we looked at each other and we said, there's something bigger than Phil. That was God. You know, and maybe that was it. Maybe that was how it was. I know deeply that there is one eminence, one central point of the universe that is nothing but love and compassion. Even the toughest parts of our lives do not come because we're bad. It's what do you need to learn?
Mhm.
And remember, for everybody who says, oh, but we only live once, I'm going to say, and you're right, because it's the soul that incarnates time and time again. You, me, we're one recipe and done. And when this is done, the soul hangs up this personality like a coat in the closet it won't wear again and chooses something else.
Oh, that's interesting. So I do believe in reincarnation.
Mhm.
I felt, though, that part of the soul is matched with a bit of personality.
Oh, yeah. Here's the way that I would describe it. Let's take the actor Matt Smith. Now, Matt was the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who. He was my doctor, the crazy best friend. When he was done with that, he hung up that suit and put on Prince Philip for the first two seasons of The Crown. Then he hung up the Prince Philip suit, and now he's some whack job in House of the Dragon.
Okay.
There is a bit of Matt Smith, the actor, that always informs all of those parts.
Mm.
But when the part is done, the part is what gets hung up in the closet. There are parts of me that I know came down 2 lives ago. The fact that everybody comes to me, can I talk to you? The fact that I have a facility with words. We'll see something that will immediately key us to a past life. With me, it was seeing World War I airplanes fly at a flying museum for the first time, keyed me into a World War I life that I had. So there was part of that soul spark must have been in me for me to recognize it.
Mm.
But that's why when people ask me to do past lives for them, I don't just reach and pull anything.
Mm.
I ask them what's an obsession, a phobia, etc., because then the past life I pull for them will make sense and forward them in this life. The quickest story I have for that, a woman came to me and said, my son won't live more than a mile from me. He won't do anything without checking with me first what's going on. And I said, okay, 1944, Utah Beach. He's a soldier. It's D-Day. His leg has a bunch of shrapnel. You're his commanding officer. You pull him over the dunes to save him. You take shrapnel too, but you both live. She said, can you see my rank? I said, yes, you were a sergeant. She says, he's called me Sarge since he was 3 years old, and we've never known why. That's when a past life is important. Not you're a janitor in Des Moines and I find out you're Napoleon Bonaparte. No. And do not come to me and say I must have been Anne Boleyn because I can't wear turtlenecks. Do you know how many times I've heard that?
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, as far as who will come through,
Mhm.
let me back up for a second. Do you see and hear and feel, or only one or the other with the voice?
Are we talking mediumship or past lives?
More of like the clairvoyant, how does it go? Audio?
The clairs, clairaudient, clairvoyant, the actual reading stuff.
Yes.
Because past lives, I see it like a movie.
Okay.
Dead people? Let's call it dead people.
Yeah.
They come in, I hear them and I see them here. I don't see them out there. But one of the reasons I will not do mediumship in public is because I will not censor. And I'll tell the PG story here. There was a woman, biracial, same gender couple. The black partner had died. Her white widow wanted to speak to her. I got her partner, but what came out of my mouth in flawless urban ebonics should not come out of this nice Jewish kid's face from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Let me tell you, it was rude. But the person in front of me started laughing through her tears because that particular phrase is what her partner Isabel said every time she came back to the house from a business trip. Yeah. Now, if I'm reading in public, I would censor that or change it, and she never would have gotten that reality check. So past lives I'll do in public, and I have. But mediumship is intensely personal because I put you in direct contact with your dead person if I can, and you will have a conversation with them. That's respecting privacy.
Okay. So anything that we've ever seen on film, let's say not the ones that are staged or fake, something real, those are being censored as if it's in a live audience. And
maybe, I don't know what what they want to do. I'm very concerned that my clients feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the spirits that do come through in the voyancy, let's just say, If you've made a connection with a past life, would those spirits come through stronger? Would they be attached to you any stronger if in this life you've already made a connection with your past life?
Are you saying if I pick up a past life of a client where we were connected?
No, if so, okay. So let's say you've had a moment in your past life and it's
Mhm,
connected you with your great great grandmother.
mhm,
And so someone was to read you and they say, on your left side, I see your great great grandmother.
mhm.
Could that connection be very strong because you've identified that time?
Maybe, but the thing is, if I know nothing about my great great grandmother, even if the connection is strong with me because I do what I do, it's like, I go to the gym. Um, you have to be careful because that person might hand you a line that you don't know because they want to make that connection with you. Now, there are a lot of spiritualists who are bang on. Um, Perfect example of something I did not remember. I was in doing a lecture at a spiritualist church. It was rookie day, and somebody came up to me. She's in tears because she thinks that I'm going to think she's an idiot. Reverend Corbie, may I come to you? Yes. I'm seeing a gentleman. He looks like Santa Claus, but he's younger and he's blonde and he's fat and he's got a red t-shirt and shorts and sandals. And he has a cat in his arms that looks like a Siamese, but it's long hair and he's making a wave at you and blow kisses. And this is like nuts. And I was laughing. I said, yes. It was my ex-husband who had died the year before. We always said hi on our birthdays. It was close to mine. But I didn't remember what the red t-shirt was until a friend of mine said, don't you remember you gave that to him, blah, 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 blah. So this is not something she could have picked up from me. So she wasn't reading a mind. Yes, there's a connection there. That's the kind of thing, if it can be independently corroborated, if you don't remember, then you can believe it.
Very interesting. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, as far as let's go through your website. You know what? Let's take
Sure,
a
let's
look.
fight.
Yeah, let's take a look at your website here. Your 3 books are all available on Amazon. So that is Clean
Mhm.
Out Your Life Closet, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, and you've got the magic Who Needs a Genie.
Mhm.
Where else are they available on your website, I would presume?
Yes, they are. All 3 books are both paperback and Kindle. Clean Out Your Life Closet, I did as an audiobook, and I'm the narrator because when it is something like that, a self-help book, if the writer has a good voice and can put their passion behind the words, I always love listening to an audiobook that way. So you've got 3 ways.
Oh, that's wonderful. I enjoy the audiobooks in the car, especially
Hmm.
on a long ride. That
Yes.
there's so many things you've listened to already on the radio 50 billion times.
Hmm.
Why not listen to something new? So this is your website, which is www.corbiemitleid.com. And I see where you have your books. There's a radio button at the top and book a reading. So,
Hmm.
what type of information would I need to put in to book a reading? And how booked out are you?
Depends on what. Actually, if you pull that back up and you click on all readings, that's where you go first. Because what that up here, boom. What that does is that takes you down and shows you all the readings that I do. You can read through it. You can decide what feels right to you. Then you would go book the reading. Because I have so many different kinds of readings, you need to kind of read the menu first. I'm like one of those Greek diners with 12 pages. If it's a quick question, that's a burning question reading. That's fast. But general and romance, mentoring for teens, because I don't normally read for teens, but sometimes a mother will say she needs your work. She's an indigo child, whatever.
Mm.
Consultations, finding your North Star. What are you here to do? Occasion readings are anniversaries, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthday. Brainstorming your business. That's where we take a look at branding, numerology for it. How do you want to build it? And the soul plan readings directly from Rob's book. And creating your sentence of passion is finding out what the heck are you supposed to do while you're down here.
Interesting.
And
See, I thought that was something that we had to come up with on our own. I didn't realize that you could get guidance for that.
oh yeah, when you do as much as I do, and you've done it for 50 years, you know that people are often going to get the wrong kind of reading unless you explain things to them.
Okay.
And when you click on one of those little bars, a bigger explanation comes up.
That's what I was going to ask. So for people that are unfamiliar with a sentence of passion, would you mind going over that again? What is a sentence of passion?
Click and you'll see.
All right.
Your sentence of passion is not who you are or what you do or even how you do it. It's your vapor trail. When you go skidding into heaven on bald tires and fumes in the tank, and God hands you a beer and says, so, you get to say, I did this. Isn't it cool? And it isn't your job. Because I have done my sentence of passion throughout my entire life. Mine is cross the bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. When I could take someone from point A to point B when they thought they couldn't make it, whack them on their shoulders and say, here are your wings. You don't need a flight plan. Get! I'm living my bliss. Now, this is not that I just sit there and say, this is your purpose. You're going to have 2 pages of homework, and you're going to do that first, and then we're going to get together and we're going to start looking at themes and patterns, etc. And together we will come up with 2 things: your motto, which is what you tell yourself in the mirror every morning, and your sentence of passion, which is your rallying cry to the world. And the interesting thing is, when I first send the 2 pages of what look like disjointed questions, everyone says, oh, I'll knock this out in 20 minutes. And the day they come for the reading, they go, Jesus, it took me 4 days. I said, I know. It was meant to. Because we don't look at ourselves that deeply to really understand ourselves.
No.
We skim. And this will not let you skim. You're going to plumb your depths, but come out with something gold and diamond at the end of it.
You know, I think that's really how people can tell the difference between someone that is offering, fake isn't the right word, but a mirage, versus what you do, where your clients should come away with more clarity, correct?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay. Okay. I love that. I really do. And I love the amount of time that you had for us to share who you are, what you do, how you can contact you. What is your favorite mode, aside from your website, of getting the word out there, where you might be, this, that, the other?
Honest to Pete, it's doing shows and podcasts like this. Some stranger invites me onto their program and I get to shoot my mouth off for however long. I love it. It's just such fun. But seriously, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on medium.com. It's where I do a lot of my writing. You can find me on Instagram. If you want to work with me on a regular basis, find me on Patreon. I do not have 3 and 4 figure. You have to spend thousands per month. It's like $10, $25, depending on the level you want. And I teach once a month, and it's a full nest of people like you. They're all very mutually supportive. It really is a great place to be and to learn.
Oh, wonderful. And you can find links to all of that on CorbieMitleid.com. Well, Corbie, thank you so much for coming on to the show. If you have a new book, if you have anything that you would like to share with the world, please let me know. You know my email, and I'd love to have you on the show again.
I would love that. This was great fun. And yes, next time I have something new, we'll talk. We'll have coffee, as we say in New York.
Yeah, exactly. Coffee talk. All right. I'll see you soon.
Be well.
You as well. Everyone, that was so delightful. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your questions and your likes. As always, we are blessed. You are blessed. Mwah. I love you. And I will see you a little bit later this afternoon for yet another wonderful show.